to start off, just thanking everyone from this organization. Starting with Jed, Parag, John, and Kyle here. It's just it's a privilege to be here, and going back to New England, thanking the Kraft family for giving me that first opportunity. Thanking Coach Belichick for believing in me from the start. And, things have really worked out. So just thrilled to be here right now, and yeah.
I think Kyle will tell you great quality of a quarterback taking charge. I thought I was starting, but hey, have at it, Jimmy. Welcome to everybody, and most of all, I want to welcome Jimmy Garoppolo. An unbelievable opportunity came our way in the midst of what's really been a tough season, and where we are right now, it's not fun, but Kyle and I think everybody in the building feels positive things, and I can tell you that what happened this weekend felt a lot better after yesterday. Is that going to fix all our ills? Absolutely not. But we had an opportunity to get better as an organization. We took advantage of that. Could not be more excited to have Jimmy with us. We think we improved our football team at a very important position, and we're just very, very excited to get going. Kyle probably wants to end this in a hurry so he can go back to work, so Jimmy can go to work and get ready to play. I'm sure you have a lot of questions for Kyle and I, but really this is about Jimmy, and you guys, I do want to thank the New England Patriots. I think it's refreshing to find people where you cannot belabor things. You bring something up and you come to a quick resolution, and you don't grind people out. And that's what we were able to do. And so I want to thank them and have a lot of respect for that organization. Obviously, their success speaks for itself, but also just the way they handle things. So without further ado, welcome to Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy, can you kind of take us through the past 24 hours, and what was your immediate reaction when you found out that you'd be coming to the 49ers?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind for sure, no doubt about it. But just when I first found out, I can't even describe how excited I was. Time in New England was great. I thank them for everything. But to come here and come into such a great organization, it really is a privilege, and I'm excited about it. It's going to be a good thing.
Kyle, you and John were very clear from the moment you got here how important this position was. Why is Jimmy the guy that you have put your stock in?
Because we believe in him. I put a lot of time into Jimmy throughout college. Got to study a lot of tape on him at Eastern Illinois. Got a chance to go down there and work him out when he was coming out. Got to go out to dinner with him. Got to watch a lot of college tape on him. Felt very good about him coming out of college. Obviously didn't get him when I was at Cleveland, but watching the times that he has had in the NFL, his regular season games throughout the preseason, he's looked exactly like the player that we hoped he could be. And watching how he handles himself, how he carries himself, talking to people that I have a lot of respect for and what they say about him as a man, as a leader, I think he's the exact type of guy that you're looking for.
What specifically do you like about the way he plays?
What's that?
What specifically do you like about the way he plays?
I like, first of all, it starts with ability. Jimmy has the ability to make plays with his legs. He's a very good thrower, and most importantly to me, he hangs in that pocket, keeps his eyes downfield, and is up for any challenge.
Don, I think you mentioned that you're trying to make a trade, draft time with New England. Was this essentially the same trade, and kind of was this on the table this whole time and waiting for New England things, or how did this kind of happen right now?
In talking with the Patriots, one of the things, we're not going to get into a ton of details. I will tell you that I think wanted to do a trade this offseason. We inquired and were quickly shut down, and it never even became. They never came to fruition at all. And in the last couple days, it did, and we were very pleased that that was the case.
Terms similar from what you proposed?
Well, there never were any terms because we never got to propose because it was basically not an option, and that's what I appreciated. You get an answer really quick from them, and that was the case then, and so it never were terms. We're very pleased with the way it worked out.
What's realistic about Jimmy getting in a game, and how long do you think that will take?
We'll look at that week to week. It's a huge challenge. Jimmy coming here, never playing in this offense before. I know it's completely different terminology from what he had at New England in college, and that takes a lot of time. So I know Jimmy's going to come in here and do everything he can to get ready. I know we are too, but by no means are we just trying to rush the process. You know, I would definitely not expect it this week. We'll look at it each week, and when we feel that he's comfortable and has a chance to go in there and have some success with the time he's put in and the reps that he's gotten in practice, then we'll decide when that time's right.
I'm sure you guys are aware he's not signed beyond this year. Do you have
I didn't know that.
do you have hopes of getting an extension done soon, or kind of what is the plan as far as that goes?
Well, look, I just met Jimmy for the first time. You know, we're here, you know, I know his representative, Don Yee's in the room, and he's sitting right next to the guy that would be talking to him. So there's a lot of options at our disposal. We're just getting to know, and honest to God, I mean, we need to get him in the playbook, so we're going to start first things first. And, yeah, but I can tell you, second-round picks are very valuable in this league, particularly where we are at as an organization. And so this is a guy we want, and we're willing to give what we thought was a very valuable commodity in exchange for him. And so we're excited moving forward that he's going to be a part of our future.
Jimmy, there's obviously, regarding that stuff, things to be worked out, but do you view this as you found your home for quite some time?
You know, I guess we'll see what happens type of thing. You know, thrilled to be here. I mean, just got here this morning, and I mean, I couldn't be happier. But you know, we're just gotta take it week by week right now. I mean, I got a whole playbook to learn. The terminology, I mean, it's gonna be like learning a different language. But it's you know, I'm looking forward to the challenge and enjoying the process.
Hey, John, your collaboration with Kyle is a little different than it works at some other teams. How did it work in this case? Did you defer to Kyle anymore because it's the quarterback position?
You know, there's been a lot of talk about that, but hey, Kyle and I came in here and we never made any bones about it. We were going to do this as a team, and we do. And through good times, there haven't been a whole lot of those in the regular season. But throughout the whole process, we've been together, and that's the way we operate. You know, I actually think that's a cool thing, and this process was no different.
John, along the lines of what you said about the value of a second-round pick and a relatively short sample size with Jimmy, even in his career, what is it about him that made you decide it was worth that second-round pick?
Well, I think Kyle spoke to that. Kyle followed him a lot in college, thought very highly of him. I think you know, when he has played, it's been very impressive. You know, I've learned a lot in the last 7 months. I learned a lot in my broadcast career. We meet with quarterbacks every week. I kind of know, you know, I feel like I have a feel for the characteristics. Kyle has a very specific feel for what he wants out of a quarterback. Jimmy kind of checked off all the boxes there, and the film's just impressive. I don't think you have to be some quarterback savant to see that. Albeit limited time, it's very impressive. You have to love the pedigree, where he came from, the organization. We've got a lot of respect for that organization. Had an opportunity to sit back and learn from one of the greatest, if not the greatest. I know that's not a popular sentiment in this area, where there's another guy who's in that conversation, and I'll leave that to everyone else. But he had an opportunity to sit behind Tom, to learn from Bill, to learn from some great people, and we think that's important. So he brings so much that we're excited to work with.
How much do you know about Kyle's offense, and how do you think it suits your game?
Say again?
How much do you know about the type of offense Kyle likes to run, and how do you think it suits your game?
Sorry about that. Sorry, say it again.
about Kyle's offense, and how does it suit your game?
Well, you know, not a ton, but just seeing it on film, you know, watching it, trying to pick up certain things when we were in New England, and use them. I mean, it's a fun offense to run. It looks like it, at least. I mean, I'm excited to learn it, get the verbiage down and everything, get in the huddle with the guys. I mean, that's what I'm really looking forward to. Just, you know, meeting the new teammates, meeting all the staff and everything like that. I mean, it's going to be a great experience, and I'm looking forward to it.
Jimmy,
What kind of things have you learned from,
you know, being your time spent in New England, you know, backing up Tom and learning from Coach Belichick, kind of things you think you can bring to this organization?
You know, those guys, they taught me a ton, going all the way back to rookie year. But I think some of the important things is, you know, just how to prepare, how to practice, how to prepare to practice. You know, I mean, those things just, it's a little thing, but those are kind of what set the tone for the team. And so, you know, all those things going forward are only going to help me.
Kyle mentioned the meetings before the What do you remember about that process?
Yeah, we were actually, just talking about it. I mean, we met a couple different times. All of them were good meetings. Just, I thought from the first time I met Kyle, there was a connection there. And, things didn't really work out how one way or another, but, in the long term, I think it worked out for the best.
How long have the 49ers kind of been on your radar since, knowing that Kyle was the coach here, and your contract is coming up, and there might be some opportunities? Did you think in the back of your mind that this could happen?
I try to stay focused on the season as much as possible. I mean, being a quarterback in this league is tough, and so, there's so much going on that you don't really have time to think about those kind of things. But, I'm thrilled it worked out the way it did.
Jimmy, did you have a chance to talk to Tom on your way out here from New England?
I actually didn't even get to the facility, so I didn't get to really see anybody in person. But yeah, he texted me. We talked for a second.
You mentioned that it was it's going to be like a foreign language trying to pick up this playbook. I noticed a couple years ago I read an article where you said a similar thing when you first joined the Patriots. Having been through that once already, do you have a little bit more confidence, and do you think that, given your connection with Kyle and the fact that you speak the same football language, could go quicker this time?
I like to think so. Being in my 4th year in the league, I think that only is going to help me. Coming out of college and, trying to pick up a playbook. I didn't have a playbook in college, so I know it sounds crazy, but we really didn't. And so, hopefully it goes a little smoother. I imagine it would, just having more experience. But, it's going to be a challenge, but I'm looking forward to it.
John, you have a relationship with Belichick. Do you think that relationship helped make this happen?
I don't know. I think relationships are important. One great lesson I learned from Bill Belichick in a very short time there in New England is speak for yourself. Don't speak for other people. And so I'm not going to try to get into his head, but I do know that relationships are important in this business. I've learned that thus far.
Did the call come from New England, or did you initiate?
Like I said, we agreed with the Patriots that we're going to leave the details. There's a lot of details. As Bill said, it's a big puzzle, and I think it's very complex to get into. We're just going to leave it at that. We're thrilled to have this guy sitting next to me right now.
Why not wait until free agency and make a play for Jimmy at that point? Keep your draft picks. I mean, what was the risk in doing it that way?
We had an opportunity right now. We thought about it for about 10 minutes and said, this is too good an opportunity to not take advantage of, and so we jumped at it.
3.5 years as a backup, how ready were you for this, and maybe were you ready a little earlier than this to become a starter?
Just excited about it, really. Just, kind of eager to get this opportunity. And, I'm going to try and make the best of it and take full advantage of it.
Kyle, is Jimmy the quarterback of the future here, or is it possible he could be just a
No, I think we brought him here because we want him to be the quarterback of the future. That's up to Jimmy and how it works out here, and we're going to work our best to get him ready. We talk about, we're going to look in every opportunity to find that guy, and this opportunity came up, and Jimmy's the guy we believe can be that guy. So when that opportunity came up, and it's the guy that you believe in, from what you've seen on tape and what you've heard of people who know him, that's something that's too good of an opportunity to pass up on. So we didn't hesitate.
Considering how much legwork goes into, obviously it was quick to make a decision when you could get him, but before that, the legwork that goes into maybe evaluating what could be available in the offseason. How much work did you do on draft prospects, all that type of stuff?
Well, one thing that Kyle and I did when we first got together, we spent as much time as we could, just the two of us, and watching a lot of film and seeing what's important to Kyle at each position. And, perhaps Jimmy was a guy we watched a lot of this offseason. We were looking for qualities that he covets, and so we watched some of the people that Kyle felt did it in a way that he thought was that would lend to success in this league. And so we did a lot of legwork in the offseason, looking at a lot of different quarterbacks, looking at a lot of different reasons, as I said, to get a good feel for what Kyle covets at that position. And so, but there was a lot of work done on Jimmy, and so when this came up, we were really going off that work.
Considering Jimmy's contract situation and where you guys may land in the first round of the draft, does this change how you guys approach the offseason once you guys get there, and what avenues you guys may look at as far as, the quarterback position moving forward?
like I think Kyle just said, we believe in this guy. And so, listen, we're just happy to have him here. We're very, we believe very much that Jimmy's going to be our quarterback of the future, and we'll let everything else play out from there.
There's a report that going into the 2014 draft, you were asked to evaluate the quarterback position, and you ranked Jimmy as one of the top 2 quarterbacks. And neither one of your top 2 quarterbacks were the ones who ended up being drafted in the first round. Is that correct? And would you have him way up there?
Yes, I did.
And was it Carr and Garoppolo?
I'm not gonna say exactly, but he was definitely up there.
Kyle, you made it clear that there's no timetable for getting him on the field. But is it important to get him under center as much as possible this year to get, a look with your eyes as opposed to watching film?
I think it is important, but I don't put everything into games either. I mean, play 16 games a year, you practice all the time, and you can learn a lot from a guy in practice too. And our goal here, we didn't just bring Jimmy here to just help us right now. We would love for him to help us right now. But this is more about the big picture too. And you can look into anything about when and why, but it's hard to find, it's hard to get opportunities in this league, and I've seen throughout my whole career, but it's hard to come across opportunities to get guys that you believe have a chance to be your quarterback for a while. And I think every team's looking for that except for probably 6 teams. And when those opportunities come around, if you believe that's the case, you don't hesitate and you don't look back. It's not about looking into every other situation possible. That's, to me, leaving stuff up for hope and chance. It's when something comes across and that's available, which this did over the last few days, very recently, and it was to our surprise, but once we did have an opportunity and you believe in someone like we do with Jimmy, that's something that I would never hesitate on, never look back, and never question the timing or the what-ifs.
Getting him on the field, is that purely contingent on Jimmy having a command of the offense, or is it also contingent on the offensive line kind of settling down a little bit as well?
I think it's contingent on everything. It's I want Jimmy to have a chance to go out there and be successful, and I don't expect anyone to fully understand it unless you've been in that situation before. But coming in and just learning completely new terminology is a big deal. And you guys asked Jimmy to compare it to college to now. It's terminology-wise, it's always going to be a foreign language when you change what everything's called. I think one benefit he has now is our offense is a lot more similar to New England's conceptually and stuff than it would be to Eastern Illinois'. I don't mean that in any other way. It's just it's totally a pro scheme and more of a spread out scheme. So I think that'll be easier to where he can relate some plays to other plays. But the verbiage and the quarterback's got to communicate everything so the other 10 guys know what to do. And that's when you talk about language. And then that takes a while to get comfortable with. I mean, some guys go through that for a whole year, and they're still not, it's not totally natural to them. So I know Jimmy's going to do everything he can to work at that. We're not going through 2-a-days either, where we can just give him a ton of reps of it. So a lot of it's going to be in the classroom and everything. And, we're going to still continue to prepare CJ to play in these games because he needs the reps also. So we got to work and figure out the best way to get our team ready. But one thing I know is I'm very excited to have Jimmy here. And I'm looking forward to the chance when he does get his opportunity to play for us.
All right, thanks, guys. We're going to do a couple extra questions on the side. Okay. So we're going to do a photo op real quick.
Thanks, guys.
Take the tables away.
Right there, my standards are something misery. Very good.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hold on a second, Jay. Can I get you up on the stage?
Alright, sit this right here, guys. Awesome.
You want to flip it over? Do a couple name on the back of the jersey? Facing down.
Right here, guys.
Is that spelled correctly?
I know.
First try.
Staying busy. That you have no help.
All right.
No help.
Good? All right, great. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Matt, you can do that.
Bend down again.
Oh, go right ahead. Yeah.
All right, guys. Yeah, you're going to be good.